The most iconic and recognizable superhero in the world is Superman, as he fights for truth, justice, and the American way. Superman is DC's greatest hero, but what if he was in a different universe, unlike that of DC or Marvel? What if Superman was in the world of Invincible? Today we're going to be deep diving into that scenario in this What If fan fiction. I will be mainly taking heavy inspiration from the comics of Superman Earth 1, Superman Unchained, and All-Star Superman. I will also be following mainly the Invincible Amazon Prime series, with adding some elements from the Invincible comics. And as always, if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and comment down below on what you think or other ideas that you would like to see involving comic book what ifs. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right on into the video. Our story starts at a train station in a small town in Kansas, where Clark Kent is about to board a train to Chicago. "Sweetheart, do you really need to transfer schools?" Martha Kent would ask with a look of concern on her face. "Yes, Mom, I do. After the accident, I can't stay here anymore. I need to get a fresh outlook on life, and I can't do that here. I at least need to try. If it doesn't work out, then I can always come back home." Clark would tell his mother with a conflicted look on his face. "I know, son, but why take the train? With your abilities, you could be there in an instant," Martha would say. "It needs to take a while. I need time to think and come to terms with everything," Clark would say, boarding the train while waving goodbye to his mother. "You've had a whole year to think about this, Clark," Martha would say under her breath. The train would leave and head to Chicago, where Clark would start his new school life there. During the train ride, Clark would think back on his father, Jonathan Kent, and wonder what he'd think of Clark's choice. After an almost 12-hour ride, the train would stop at Chicago as Clark would get off and begin his new life. Clark would go around and find a cheap apartment, one that wasn't very expensive but had everything he needed. After a few weeks, summer vacation would come to an end and Clark would start school. On his first day of school, Clark would see this bully picking on somebody. This would irritate Clark, as he'd tell the guy to pick on somebody his own size. The bully would punch Clark in the face, only to have his fist shattered on impact. The bully would scream out in pain, as he couldn't believe that the new kid was this tough. "That was awesome. Just who are you?" the guy would ask. "My name's Clark. What's yours?" Clark would say. "Oh, that's right. I totally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mark Grayson," Mark would say, introducing himself. "So, what was all that about anyway?" Clark would ask. "Oh, that was just Todd. He was harassing Amber and I just couldn't let that go," Mark would say. Clark would tell him that he was brave, but stupid. If he wanted to stand up to people like Todd, then he should try to get stronger before walking away. Mark would take this to heart, as his best friend would ask about Clark. "I don't know for sure, but I think he might have superpowers," Mark would say before running off to his job. Clark would already be feeling lost, hearing how the Guardians fought off the Mauler twins. He'd wonder if the world would ever truly need him. Clark would try to sleep, but couldn't, so he decided to go flying around the city. Clark would find himself flying towards Kansas, where he'd eventually end up in front of his father's grave. Clark would remember his father telling him that the world has plenty of people who have gifts and abilities like him. However, he didn't think that there were many that would be stronger than Clark. "I don't know what to do, Pop. I spent my whole life here in Kansas, where there's not any heroes. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Does the world really need me to be a hero? Or is there something else that I'm supposed to do?" Clark would say to himself, before seeing the sun about to rise and flying back to Chicago. Clark would spend the rest of the week thinking things over, hearing about a new hero called Invincible going around with the news of the alien invasion happening yesterday. Clark would get a call from his mom telling him that he needs to come visit her as she has a gift for him and she'll have dinner ready at the normal time. Clark would tell her that he'll be there. Clark would be out of school, accidentally bumping into a girl with long red hair. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there," Clark would say. "It's fine, I wasn't watching where I was going, so that's my bad," the girl would say. "You look very familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before?" Clark would ask curiously. "Yeah, I'm Eve. We have science class together." "You're Clark, right?" Eve would say. Looking at her phone, she'd say that she was running late and took off. Clark would wonder where else he'd seen her from, but decided to brush it off, heading off to Smallville. Clark would arrive at Smallville, heading into his house, seeing his mother setting the table. "Allow me to do that, Ma," Clark would say, taking the dishes from his mother. "Is everything okay in the city, Clark? I heard aliens invaded yesterday," Martha would ask her son. Clark would finish setting the table, telling his mother that the teen team defended people, but even they couldn't protect everyone. "Maybe they could have if you helped them, Clark," Martha would tell her son. Clark would hang his head down, saying that he should have helped, but he can't forgive himself after what happened when he was a kid. "Clark, that man had a gun pointed at me and your father. You were just protecting your family, son," Martha would say, holding Clark in her arms. "I killed him, Ma. I killed a man when I could have easily just knocked him out," Clark would say with tears in his eyes. Martha would tell Clark that his father always hoped that he would grow up strong and help lead the world into a safer and more secure future. "Clark, you have a gift and this world is changing, and not for the better. Could you really live with yourself if you continued to sit on the sidelines and more people died because you chose not to take action? Your father always believed in standing up and doing what's right no matter what, and I know deep down that you're the same way, Clark," Martha would say. Clark would think on it, eating dinner and then heading out to the barn, where he'd go to the cellar where the ship that brought him to Earth was. Clark would touch the ship, and the ship would react by releasing a blue crystal and a holographic message from his birth parents, Jor-El and Lara. They explained his story and what the crystal was. After hearing that, Clark would take the crystal. However, before he could fly off, Martha would give him a box, saying that he would need it when the time is right. Looking inside the box, Clark would see there was a costume inside the box. Clark would smile, thanking his mother, and flying past Chicago all the way to the Arctic, where he would place the crystal as it grew into a huge building-like structure that would later be known as the Fortress of Solitude. Days would pass where Clark would see the new hero Invincible seem to be very unaware of his powers and didn't seem to care about collateral damage. Clark would also notice that Eve was Adam Eve from the teen team. Clark would also be spending a lot more time with Eve, learning that she had a boyfriend named Rex. The two would develop a very close friendship, with Clark having romantic feelings for Eve. Mark would also be talking to Eve as well, leading to Clark and Mark getting to know each other a lot better. One day, Clark and Eve would be hanging out until Mark came running over, telling Eve that they needed to go. "Sorry, Clark, I gotta cut this short for today. Mark and I are late for something. I'll make it up to you," Eve would say as her and Mark ran off. Clark would fly back to his apartment and go to his closet, where he'd see the box his mother gave him. Opening it, Clark would put on the suit and listen to the news where the Flaxons were attacking the city. The teen team would be getting decimated. Invincible would be held down as Adam Eve was about to be killed until the Flaxon soldier would be sent flying, as everyone would be in shock, as there before them would be Superman. "Who the hell is this guy?" Rex would ask. "You can call me Superman," Superman would tell him, as he would use his heat vision to clear out over half of the Flaxon army immediately. The commander would charge at Superman, landing a hit on his chest, which caused the Flaxon's arm to break at the elbow. "If you're done now, it's my turn," Superman would say, cracking his knuckles. Superman would punch the commander into the portal, telling the other ones to leave as well, which they all did, running back into the portals. Closing them, this would have saved the city tremendously, cutting down all casualties by 90%. Okay, hold on now. Who the hell are you, and why are you so powerful? Rex would ask, as Robot would second that. As I told you, I'm Superman. As for my powers, well, that's for me to know. Superman would say with his arms crossed. I haven't heard of that name before, which is odd considering you're so powerful. Every hero should know your name. So how is it that we don't know your name? Robot would say. Well, that's because this is my first time being a hero, Superman would tell them. We just got our asses saved by a newbie. You have got to be kidding me. Especially a newbie who wears his underwear on the outside of his suit, Rex would say. What's wrong with the suit my mom made for me? Superman would ask. Rex would immediately start laughing, saying, oh, this just keeps getting funnier. Don't get me wrong, this is a terrible look for us. But I mean, your mom must have been a dumbass to think that you wouldn't get made fun of with that suit. Superman's eyes would glow red as he walked towards Rex, telling him to take it back. Rex would tell him in his dreams, Mama's boy. This would lead to Superman slapping Rex across the face so hard that Rex went through a building and had all of his teeth knocked out of his mouth. Keep my mother's name out of your damn mouth, or next time you'll have to have your jaw surgically reattached, Superman would say as he flew off. And that is where I'm going to be ending this part of the video. The final part will be out next week. It's just I didn't really have that much time this week, so yeah. I'm just gonna cut this into part 1. Part 2 will be next week as the finale, and it will be definitely action-packed to the brim. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, but before we go, I just have one more thing to tell you. Those of you who know who Golden What Ifs is should know that me and him are actually planning to do a collab on a series that has to do with one of my favorite Marvel characters in history. And instead of me just telling you who it is, I'll go ahead and show you. The thumbnail should be on the screen right about now. And anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and remember, God is awesome, you guys are too, and have a blessed day. Peace.